This video is for Homework and Mastery 3.5, Section 12.2 in your textbook. Negative exponents. What we're going to look at today is what to do with negative exponents and how they serve us purposes. Definition of a negative exponent is whenever we have a negative exponent, what we want to do is put it in its opposite position. If a negative exponent is in the numerator, we want to place it in the denominator. It flips our fraction, only for that variable. So for example, if I have h to the negative 4, that means that the h is going to become in the denominator. When I put the h in the denominator, this becomes a positive 4 now. I've paid a toll from going to the numerator to the denominator. Paying that toll is changing from a negative to a positive sign. So I've put it in from the numerator into the denominator and made it positive. When I have 2a to the third, all raised to the negative fifth, I first want to get rid of the negative fifth power by putting the entire parentheses in the denominator. So I have 1 divided by 2a to the third, all raised to the fifth. After I have gotten rid of the negative exponent, I can distribute the exponent using my product rules and power rules and say 2 to the fifth, which is going to be 32, and a to the third raised to the fifth, and multiply my exponents and get a to the 15th. So let's look at the rules that we have gone over so far. The product rule, if I multiply with the same base, I add my exponents. The quotient rule says if I'm dividing with the same base, I subtract my exponents. And I leave my base in the position of my largest exponent. If it's in the numerator, I put it in the numerator. If it's in the denominator, I put the answer in my denominator. The power rules say that I can distribute my exponent if they're multiplied, and I get xy all raised to the a. I get x raised to the a, y raised to the a. Also, if I have a power raised to a power, I multiply those two powers. And if I have a division, I can distribute my exponent and get x to the a divided by y to the a. My new rule is my negative exponents, where if I have a negative exponent, I want to change its position. This x to the negative n is in the denominator, so I want to move it to the numerator. When I move it to the numerator, the exponent becomes positive. Here I have x to the negative m divided by y to the negative n. My x is in the numerator with a negative exponent, therefore it becomes in the denominator. My y is in the denominator with a negative exponent, so we move it to the numerator. These are the rules of exponents that we will be using the rest of the semester. So I want to simplify these expressions. Write the expression with no negative exponents. I just want positive exponents. So I have x to the third divided by x to the negative 2, and I have y to the negative fifth divided by y. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these negative exponents. I'm going to move the y to the negative fifth to the denominator, and I move x to the negative 2 to the numerator. When I do that, I have the same base, x times x, and I can add their exponents. 3 plus 2 will give me 5. Same thing with the y's. I have the same base, and I can add their exponents. 1 plus 5 will give me 6. So my solution will be x to the fifth divided by y to the sixth. On part B, I have 2a b to the negative fourth, c to the second, all raised to the negative third. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to distribute this negative 3 to my 2, to my a, to my b, and to my c, as you see I've done here. So I now have 2 to the negative third, a to the negative third, b to the negative 4 times negative 3, because remember, if I have a power raised to a power, I multiply. And I have c to the 2 times negative 3. I'll go ahead and simplify my exponents. Negative 4 times negative 3 becomes a positive 12. 2 times a negative 3 becomes a negative 6. We start out with everything in the numerator. Now what I want to do is move everything that's in the numerator that has a negative sign, negative exponent, to the denominator. So that means I want to move 2 to the third to the denominator, a to the third to the denominator, and b to the sixth to the denominator. I'm sorry, c to the sixth to the denominator. Notice the b to the 12th stayed in the numerator. It was positive, so it wants to stay where it's at. When we're working with negative exponents, we have to remember we want to change its position from numerator to denominator or vice versa. When we change its position, we also change its sign from negative to positive. We have to apply all the other rules of exponents in all these cases. So you will want to study up on the rules of exponents, memorize them, and be careful when you're using them because you will be using them throughout the rest of this semester and in college algebra. If you need any help, let one of us know.